Hello, everyone. Nice meeting all of you, and thanks for joining the session. In fact, I'm very happy to be part of the Deliver event, and I was talking to the team. Great effort has been done, and it's one of the top 3 events I've been speaking in the last 5 years. So big thanks for you. Actually, today I'll be covering a bit of nice subject. It's about the digital transformation, and it's something as a part of my DNA. I really couldn't live without it, and it's a very tricky subject as well. And the title of the session was about following the poem, which is saying the road not taken. So let me start with this question. Who read the poem of the road not taken? Who heard about it even? Okay. So me, I read it 2 days ago in the flight, just to see what is the relation with the digital transformation. And it's really interesting. So simply, the writer of this poem was taking a journey, and there are 2 roads, and he was like confused which one to take. And at the end of the day, he's been spending time overthinking which one is the right one, trying to estimate what is the right one to do, can he go and then come back, and he lost a lot of time. But then the essence of this is, when you have to make a choice, it's very important that you try something, yeah? And in order to try something, you need to have a passion for it. But is the passion enough to do something? If you're having a passion towards something, either a hobby or a transformation or anything, will the passion be enough? What do you think? Reality is it's not enough, yeah? Because passion is an internal feeling inside your mind. It will always come to you when you have some spare capacity in your mind thinking about something, and then either you regret not doing it, or you still say, yeah, I have to do it, but it will never take you there. But what takes you to make a transformation is the courage. So the courage will unleash the passion inside you, and it will drive the transformation and the success of the transformation. You can talk about digital transformation, body transformation, mind transformation, any transformation, yeah? And if we look on the transformation itself to happen and to be successful, there's another important factor on it, which is, in order to succeed, you need to fail. Yeah? And that's something not mostly common due to the way we've been educating ourselves since we started any normal educational system in the world. Because there is a competition, you shouldn't fail, So it's a bit of wrong ecosystem in the world earlier. But reality is, the faster you fail, the better you learn. So we have to change our mind that failure is not as bad as it looks, yeah? Because if you fail, and you get more quicker to the success cycle. And let me tell you what is the success cycle, and it's much related to the digital transformation, yeah? So you need to go to try something, and if you fail, it's totally okay, it's fine. What's very important is to learn from this failure. So don't get the negative feeling of a failure. Just stop and say, yeah, what can I learn out of this? So the cycle is try, fail, and learn, and then succeed. And it can take you several rounds of try, fail, and learn until you succeed. And again, that's absolutely okay. The most important is the trick between linking the failure to the learning. Yeah? And in one of the big corporates culture in Google, they said that failure is good. It's very embedded into the organization, but you have to do it fast, and you have to learn out of it, yeah? But then in big corporate, I don't think they really accept failure big time, yeah? So that's why it's absolutely important that you do the learning immediately with the failure. Like you combine it together as a one package and say, that's the learning out of this, and then we're gonna do this in a different way. And my advice then, when you do a transformation, don't start to scale it up. Let's say I'm going to do transformation in 20 countries, for example. But you do it in a small pilot, very contained, with time framed, with low cost if you can. And if it's reversible, then it's good. Then if it's failed, it's fine. Yeah? Because you'll always find resistance in any organization to do the change. Imagine changing a business process or some of the system of records, like SAP or XYZ, and then you ask people to move around and just to use the new systems. It's going to take time, yeah? And that's exactly where the core of the transformation is. So to have a successful digital transformation, we need to try something small, If we fail, it's okay. We learn immediately, and we change again, and we work in a more agile manner in order to go ahead in our digital transformation journey. Actually, I was reading an article yesterday about the digital transformation. We've been like 10 years talking about digital transformation, yeah? I started getting in contact in 1999, so I'm that old, yeah? And I was doing a neural network graduation project in my bachelor. And at this point of time, nobody was wanting to join me in my graduation project because you're crazy, nobody will understand what you're talking about. But I keep looking at it until it came into life in 2012. And the article was talking that even after 10 years, there are still companies that they are not finding their way in the journey, which route they should take, yeah? But the important part is to pick a route, take small steps, make a pilot. Don't take the scalability of the solution on the cost of the learning out of it. Make sure that it's really doable, it is adding value, keep it to mature, and then start scaling it. That's from my learnings, actually, in the last 5 years as well. And so the conclusion is like failure is the best way to success out of that. And I'll just take one step back just for people to understand the digital transformation. And there's this, I just added early this morning, because out of the paper I was reading yesterday, that people have totally different opinion about the digital transformation. And unfortunately, because how the market is evolving and together with the COVID-19 happened, the technology is pushing. It's in front of everyone. Like I'm receiving 20, 30 emails every day and LinkedIn messages, people asking me to sell me technology for my scope of work. And it's not. Digital transformation is not technology. Yeah, and it's a myth, actually. The reality is digital transformation is mainly 4 pillars, where the last pillar is the technology, yeah? But the 3 pillars before technology are the most critical and important. So the first pillar is the data, and the second pillar is the people, and the third one is the processes. This one is almost like neglected, yeah, and this one. And the data is kind of having the same importance, but the technology is taking the high fuzzy words, blockchain, AI, and it's becoming like the machine learning is the neural network 20 years back in 1999 or something, yeah? So data is the first pillar. I'll just give you a quick thing about the data. So data, everybody hears this statements like data is the new oil. Yeah, that's true, yeah? But the oil was found in certain areas in the world. So some countries have the privilege of having oil. But the reality, everyone in this room, even myself, is having an asset about his data or her data. And every corporate is having an asset about her data, about its data, sorry. And the trick is about the quality of the data and how you can extract value out of your data. So that's what I want to reflect on the data side. And then if you go into the processes, you always see, and I do a lot of consultation as well with some friends and startups, if the process starts with should, don't complete the sentence, yeah? The process, when you discuss a process, it should be what's happening on the ground. So a clear process mapping is very important, so you can catch the pain points and the human interaction. So you can do the digital transformation for the benefit of the people, yeah? And for the people part of it, reality is you can never do digital transformation without having the right people in place. And you cannot change the people of any company, and you shouldn't change the people of the company. But we should change our minds in order to be more having the capability to unlearn and learn. Because there are certain skills that used to exist 20, 30 years back and now does not exist. For old people like me, they know there were stamps. People used to collect stamps. There is no stamps anymore, yeah? There were a lot of other industries that even disappeared, like processing the photos from the photographers. Yeah, that does not exist anymore. So there are a lot of skills that they are disappearing. There are a lot of new skills that need to be learned. So even within any corporate, we need to unlearn some of the stuff and learn new stuff. Excel was dominating for the last 20 years. I call it as a disease sometimes. People doing everything with Excel, everything, even planning with Excel, yeah? Reality is there are a lot even of tools within the Microsoft which is doing that, but people are still sticking to that. So the more we're open to unlearn and learn, that's where you have the right people. Welcoming the culture of experimentation and failure sometimes, but not high-cost failure, but with taking calculated risk, that's another enabler for having the right digital transformation in a corporate where the people are building in that, and having the mindset that transformation is not a one-off project, it's a journey. So being a journey, you finish stage, and then maybe you stay a while, and then you take another stage. So it will never end. It's a journey that we need to keep up with, and the COVID proved that, yeah? We were in a situation 2 years back that you would never be sitting like this. It's 2 meters, wearing a mask, sometimes with a code, and it's nonsense. And if you ask any of us 5 years back, putting a simulation about, guys, do you imagine living in a world where you cannot talk face-to-face to anyone unless you're 2 meters away? And you cannot go to the store, you cannot go to a theater, you cannot go to a stadium, you cannot go to the beach, you cannot. Do you think people will survive? I think everyone will say, no, we cannot survive this, it doesn't make sense, it will not happen. But when it happened, and we survived, that means that the necessity created an adoption for the people. So if this necessity is felt in the organization, that's when the transformation will be embedded, and that's when the organization will turn to be a digital organization, and it can fit into the digital ecosystem. Yeah? That's related to the people. It's the most important pillar in my mind. Yeah? And one question I always receive in this kind of session, like, will robots replace people? Is it risky in people? Unfortunately, people believe so. No, it's not. The person who does not change is asking a transforming company to leave, simply, in this way. So the more we learn, the more you're updated to fit into the digital ecosystem, because life is changing. We cannot stay as is. If we stay as is, then you're taking one step back as a matter of development. Okay, and now come to the technology. As I said, yeah, that's the most available thing. A lot of companies, and that's why we're here. I met a lot of great companies. I want to mention some names, but you're going to see it in the awards. But it is really everywhere. It's more simple. It's more being as a commodity at the moment, yeah? Okay, so the advice and the thing that I always keep in my mind is that we need to make sure that we have a digital foundation before we do a digital transformation, yeah? So the digital foundation is having the right data with the right quality and the right sources. We have the right people who are eager for this change, who are willing to unlearn and learn, who really believes that this is the only way out for the company. Yeah, and we have the right processes, actual processes, not the should-be processes, and then we select the technology. So building the digital foundation is more important than having single shot of projects like we implemented the blockchain in the banking industry. Yeah, thank you. Then 6 months you hear about it, no, it's not working. That's unfortunately the theme, yeah, because it's led by technology rather than led by digital transformation. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up now. So first of all, transformation is a journey, okay? It's not one size fits all whatsoever, because there is a digital maturity for every industry and for every person even. So we need to consider the digital maturity before we select the technology or the digital transformation pillar. And it's not about seeking perfection and getting it 100% right the first time. Better to try small steps, test it, check it. If it's working, don't rush. Take the right speed of it, yeah? Speed is important, but not crossing the speed. And maybe last and not least, what I always say in the closing is like, fail and learn fast to succeed faster. And with this, I would like to leave you with my note. Thank you.